What's up, YouTube? It's time for another update sneak peek. Today we're going over Power Surge and everything you need to know about Surge. Why he's going to be broken in a few places, how you're going to need to play him, and everything you want to know about the Brawl Pass, new trophy road, and more. Let's do it. And of course, we got more sneak peeks coming soon, so if you don't want to miss them, definitely subscribe, and if you want the notification watch as soon as possible, hit the bell. Here we go, we got Surge. Look at this, the new background for the update, and this music as well. So freaking dope. Now we're gonna go over everything about Surge, but first let's go over the quicker stuff that you also definitely really want to know, like the Brawl Pass and everything about it. First important thing to note is there's actually 10 more tiers in this Brawl Pass. Why is there 10 more tiers? My guess is because this is a longer season for the Brawl Pass. It's 10 weeks as opposed to the last one, which was 8. And so you can see we will keep going here, and I will tell you exactly the rewards compared from this season to last season. You are getting more rewards. Of course, it's a longer Brawl Pass, so that kind of makes sense. And you click that previous season button, you can go back to the prior season and open up anything you want there. Now, how much better is this Brawl Pass compared to last season's Brawl Pass? Well, actually, the paid version is almost the exact same amount of rewards, but the free version is a good amount better. It's about 33 more free boxes, about 200 more coins, and 100 more power points. So pretty freaking dope. Now, also, as an aside, actually, well, first of all, there's a completely new reward, which I'll show you in a second, if you do the paid version. And also the paid version has, of course, you know, one more skin and 2 more emotes for Surge. There's 15 Surge emotes in this Brawl Pass compared to 13 Gale emotes in the previous one. But if you buy the Brawl Pass, there's now one really cool thing you can do. Look at this, you have glowing names that you can choose if you buy the Brawl Pass, and you can have different color of glowing names. What color should I use? They all look so sweet. I don't even know. There's so many I want to choose. We'll go with this one for now, but of course we can always change our mind and do something else. And by the way, for the trophy road, it looks like there's rewards every 500 boxes, and in total, all of these extra tiers is an extra 375 boxes total combined. Now, I know there are a lot of people I heard complaining that why are we getting boxes for such an amazing achievement? Like, we got 50,000 trophies and all we get is 10 boxes, 1 mega box? That's so lame. But, I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of other ways to get rewards in Brawl Stars, and it's not like it's not useful at all. I mean, eventually there's always a new Brawler, and you can always use that to get the new Brawler. You will always need more boxes, in my opinion, eventually. Alright, enough of that. Now for Surge Power Time! First off, you'll probably want to hear some of his voice lines, because he has some pretty cool ones. Super Surge! Power Surge! Power Surge! Alright, enough of that, right? Let's go over all his stats. First of all, he's a protector with a penchant for parties? What's up with that? Surge attacks foes with energy drink blast that's split in 2 on contact to super upgrade his stats 3 stages. Comes with color cool mods. Now, first of all, the biggest thing you want to know about, I'm sure, is everything about his super, right? That's the most interesting part where it upgrades him. Well, here's all his exact upgrades for his super. First of all, stage 1, his first super gives him increased movement speed, and it's a good amount of movement speed. I will show you an exact comparison for this later on. Stage 2, increased range, and it's also a good amount of increased range, and I'll show you another comparison for that. Stage 3 is his main attack splits into 6. What? And this is where Surge can become completely overpowered if you get to that 4th stage, but of course, if you die, it resets. So it's relatively balanced because it's hard to keep that, and you know, only playing versus bots, well, it's who knows how often you're really going to get to stage 4 in a real game. Now, other important things to know, you can see Surge is a pretty low health brawler, only 4,340 health, and his movement speed is listed as slow. So that's right, his move speed until he has the upgrade is not very fast. It's 8-bit level, and his attack does a good amount of damage, about Gene level 1540 damage per shot, but his normal range is not very long. And it says his reload speed is listed as slow, but I actually found it pretty close to average, which you will see. I'll do a comparison for that too. Oh, by the way, before I show you some of these comparisons, here are all his emotes. It seems like at least all his special emotes. Honestly, pretty solid. I'm excited to try out emotes in game. All right, now I'll show you his gadget and star power and more info about him in a moment. But first, some really important comparisons so you can see how Surge stacks up versus other brawlers. All right, here we go. We got some important comparisons. Let's start out with Surge's movement speed. His normal movement speed with his faster movement speed upgraded, and have both of those compared to other brawlers. Take a look. You got normal Surge moves about the same movement speed as 8-Bit. Maybe very, very slightly faster, but I'm pretty sure he is the same speed. And then upgraded Surge, you can see, is really fast, actually the same movement speed as Crow. So really crazy huge differences in the movement speed when you get that upgrade for Surge. So it's definitely an important upgrade to get. Next, let's compare his range, as this is stage 2, the next upgrade. You get normal Surge, his range is not long at all, only barely longer than Nita's. So really on the lower end for majority of brawlers range wise, and it's gonna be a determining factor for how easy or hard it is for you to get that super. But his upgraded range is pretty solid. It's the same range as Colt's, so it's definitely not anywhere close to being a long range brawler, but just wait, because it technically will get extended when you get that third and final upgrade, which we'll show you after this. And the next important comparison is his reload speed, which as you can see is a little bit slower than Colt's. Pretty sure it's going to be about the same as Jesse and Penny's, about 1.8 seconds. Not that great of a reload speed, but it actually is pretty average compared to a lot of other brawlers. So really, it's not a bad reload speed. Now we're going to hop into Training Cave and show you his last and final upgraded stage in a moment. But first, importantly, his gadget and his star power. His star power, first of all, to the max. Surge's main attack now splits into 2 when it hits an object, a wall, anything. I don't think this is a crazy important star power, but it is pretty solid, especially for helping you get more hits on your attack so you can charge up that next super even faster. Although, once you get that final upgrade, this star power is meaningless. Otherwise, though, it's definitely helpful for getting to that point. Now, his gadget is a really good defensive and even sometimes offensive gadget. It's a teleport. He freaking teleports. So cool. There are a lot of other brawlers that have like dashes, like Shelly and Max. Think of it kind of like that, but this is even better because it's a little bit longer range and you can go through walls. That's right. So you can really escape from enemies incredibly well with this. By the way, I forgot to mention his super does damage, 1400 of damage. And another really important thing about his super is he jumps in the air when he uses it and he can dodge attacks with his super. So there's actually a really tricky part of timing his super sometimes, trying to make sure you're dodging attacks from enemies and maybe trying to get damage, but the damage for his range of his super is very low, so really not that important. All right, here we are in Training Cave, and here is his main attack. As you can see, it splits off just like this, and it can be quite a long range, as you can tell by hitting both of these robots, so it goes a really good distance, so it's definitely a solid thing to add on. And you can see this is the range of his super, very low, not really something you're going to be using for damage, unless maybe they're like behind a wall, and in that case it can be pretty solid use. Let's go on to the third upgrade here. Oh, by the way, while we're waiting for the robots, here is the teleport. It's solid. It's got the same sort of looking attribute as 8-Bit and his teleport, and of course you can go through walls. And of course, every upgrade you do for Surge, he gets a little extra added icon. But take a look at his main attack here after you have the final upgrade. It's crazy. His overall range is insane with this upgrade, and this is where I think Surge could be overpowered in some cases, where in modes that's good for Surge to stay alive a long time. It makes sense. You're not suiciding, you're not diving, and you're able to fight enough enemies to get to this point, to have 3 supers and not die. I mean, the one thing we're going to notice with Surge is people might start playing a little bit more passive with him, because obviously if you die, you have to restart. Maybe our randoms will get a little bit better. No, probably not. All right, now let's go over how good or bad I think Surge is really going to be, the modes you will want to play him in, and not where he's going to be good, and not all important things to know with Surge. Now, starting out in Gem Grab here, I'm going to put him in a tier for every mode, and then overall. In Gem Grab, I think Surge is either a B tier or an A tier, and it's definitely going to depend on the map. If it's more of a short range map where you can utilize his short range to charge up his super without a crazy high difficulty, I think Surge could do pretty well. And in fact, I think if you make Surge the gem carrier, long term this could be a really good idea, because as Surge, you don't want to be dying. Gem carriers don't want to be dying, so it's a natural fit for him in that way. And if he gets all his upgrades, he has increased movement speed, so he's as fast as Crow. He's a defensive gadget to teleport away from danger, and his attack range is crazy long if you can get those final upgrades, and he can be really difficult to deal with and push enemies back. I think it's a natural fit for him, and plus, and of course, one thing I'll recommend with Surge is to have a healer on your team to help him stay alive, but of course, it's got to already be a good fit for the mode to have that healer. So that can work in like Gem Grab, but it's definitely not going to work in a lot of other modes. For example, in Heist, I think Surge is going to be D tier. I think he's going to be really, really bad in this mode, because a lot of modes, a lot of times you're trying to dive in and defend, and also his range I think is a really big problem. He doesn't have a lot of overall damage, and I just don't think he's really going to be able to consistently solo defend and deal with a lot of other enemies, or solo attack either. It's not really a great thing for him. He doesn't have crazy high DPS. He's more just an annoying brawler who can attack a lot of things at once if he gets the chance, but it takes a long time for him to get to that state. So I mean, you don't want to have to wait for 3 supers to be able to play the game. And in Heist, that's a really bad thing for him. So I have him D tier there. In Siege, I think Surge is going to be either a C tier brawler or a B tier brawler. I think his attack splitting off is really helpful for Siege, considering how many times there's so many different lanes and you want to be able to attack them from the center and attack enemies in a lot of different directions. And Surge will be able to do that relatively well. But his short range is definitely a problem, combined with his low health and his low movement speed. If you ever die with Surge, he's going to be a really, really bad brawler to have on your team in Siege. As long as he's a 0 upgrade in Siege, it's going to be a big problem, and that can definitely happen. But I think if it's maybe a really good map for Surge, I think he can be B tier here, because if you are able to get all of those upgrades, he can make it really easy to control the spawn and get a lot of bolts, in my opinion. So that would be solid, but it's going to be very map specific. Another mode Surge is going to be really bad in is Brawl Ball. Man, you might think Brawl Ball would be a solid mode for him, potentially, since he can teleport and he can have a faster move speed, but he resets his stage every time a goal is scored. So it doesn't matter if he dies, his stage is still going to reset. So it's just an incredibly naturally bad fit for Surge, because he's just going to reset every single goal and you're never going to be an upgraded strong brawler. So definitely bad in Brawl Ball. But probably one of his better modes is going to be Bounty. I mean, if you can get a super upgraded Surge, he will be the best brawler on the map unquestionably, because of how well he can attack in every single direction and do solid damage. Plus with a faster move speed to help dodge shots or get away from enemies and escape. Plus his gadget is really good for Bounty, either in attacking enemies and making sure you get that kill and help you get that super and upgrade, or escaping to stay alive and not give the enemy stars. So definitely I think he's A tier in Bounty, although the worst part about him here is his range. If you are facing a long-range map, he is definitely going to struggle, and he might be a little map-specific in Bounty, but the current maps in Bounty probably favor Surge really well, I think, so I have him A tier here. Another mode I think Surge is going to be pretty solid in is Hot Zone. I think he's either going to be an A tier brawler here, or maybe B tier if it's not a good map for him. But I think at Hot Zone's actually a pretty good fit for him, because he's not going to take on a ton of enemies at once, so he's not going to get overwhelmed. He does better in 1v1 matchups when he's trying to build up his super, and in Hot Zone that's not pretty bad for him. And also when he gets upgraded, if you can get him upgraded, he can attack other zones really well and fend off a lot of enemies from crazy different directions. He can reach across the map in a lot of different ways, and that's really good for Hot Zone. Plus his teleport I think is good for Hot Zone as well, either helping get closer to zone, stopping enemies, or escaping to help stay alive and just protect himself so he can get that upgraded state. And now for the showdowns. In Solo Showdown, I think Surge is going to be B tier, but really it's just because of his gadget. His gadget is really, really useful in Solo Showdown, helping you either attack enemies through walls and getting that kill to help you charge up your super and get upgrades, or escaping with your life. Of course, in Solo Showdown, You only get 1 life anyways, so it's kind of fine for him. But the one thing that's not great about Solo Showdown is you're probably not engaging in a lot of fights. So there's probably a lot of games you won't get that super upgraded Surge. The real reason he's B2 here is because of his gadget being a really good fit for this mode. And in Duo Showdown, I think Surge is a C tier brawler for similar reasons as Solo, but even a little bit harder. In 2v2 fights, Surge is going to be okay, but honestly, until he gets that range upgrade, he's going to be pretty mediocre, and that's why I think he's a minimum of C tier. Of course, if you get the upgraded Surge to the maximum, he is going to be amazing. I just think it's going to be a little difficult to consistently get that in a lot of fights. So overall, I have Surge as a B tier brawler with the potential to be amazing if he gets that upgraded state, but it really isn't a good fit for a lot of modes where you're either diving in to go all in on pushes, or enemies are doing that, so they're making sure that you die with them a lot of times, or there's just not many cases where Surge is always going to be useful. But in the places where he is, he can definitely dominate. And of course, we got more sneak peeks coming soon, so if you don't want to miss them, definitely subscribe. And if you want the notification watch as soon as possible, hit the bell.